Hey YouTube, long time no see. I wanted to provide an update on what I'm doing and follow up to my previous video, which I guess was overly negative. I took some comments to heart, but I wanted to make this video, as the title says, why I continue to invest in Tesla stock. So let's get right into it. I've been in Tesla only since it's been fucked with and manipulated, and we basically have done nothing for the past 4 years. The reason I still remain in Tesla and that I'm grateful for Tesla is because of those years and watching all the Twitter and Elon drama and anything surrounding Elon, you got more aware of the fact that all mainstream media was bullshit. It's fake news. Because here I am, super hyper focused on anything Tesla and Tesla stock, because I staked my whole livelihood on it, my family's livelihood. So I was obsessed with Tesla stock, and I absorbed every day the media FUD, all the fucking YouTubers, all the fin twits and influencers talking about Tesla, everything and anything to my mental health detriment. So why am I saying I'm grateful for that? Because if it weren't for Tesla and Elon Musk, I would still be plugged in the Matrix. I would still be some idiot believing that CNN and Fox News and all these other idiots and personalities are saying the truth, when everything they said is the exact opposite. It's just propaganda. It's just some psyop narrative that they want the masses to believe so they can fuck with you and cause a distraction and theater, which all of this is just theater at this point, especially with Trump, that they distract you and keep your eyes away from what the real thing is. And it always goes back to the money. Look somewhere else and get distracted here and fight amongst yourselves while we fuck with the money and we get rich while you guys, your lives continue to go down the tubes. The reason I'm grateful and I still am a supporter of Tesla and Elon is it unplugged me. It made me truly woke. Not this weird woke that they use to as an insult to people, but I feel like I've truly, for better or for worse, am unplugged from the so-called Matrix, as some people call it. And with this Epstein thing, even though I think it's theater, but people are getting a little taste of it. You asked someone 2 years ago the term, what does uniparty? Do you know what the uniparty is? And people are like, what is that? I've never heard of that. But now people use that term on all the time. It's the uniparty. It's one big club. It's the Democrats and Republicans and all the rich fuckers in it scheming together to some degree, playing their roles, playing their parts while they extract wealth from the middle class. That's their game. And I hate to say it, but Elon is part of the club as well. But the reason I don't despise Elon is because I think, now this is probably the naive, way to think about it, but you gotta have hope, right? My naive fanboy, whatever you want to call it, reason I'm a fan of Elon is I know he's part of the club, I know he's part of the global elites, but I think he does it begrudgingly, saying, okay, I'll play the game, I'll be your tool, but I'm gonna do it on my own terms. And you want me to fuck people in this way? I don't like that. But I guess I have to go along with it because you guys aren't gonna, either you're gonna do it with or without me. So I'll do it, but I'm gonna get this in return, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna further my companies, which overall are a net positive for humanity, and I'm gonna get rich that way, and I'm gonna continue to do what I believe in. But I think Elon, he's not some angel. I think he is on the side of humanity, but he's probably closer to, if you guys watched Avengers, when Tony Stark meets his dad in the past, I'll pull up the clip, but Howard Stark says that he's done great things for the country, but very seldomly is it not self-serving. And I think that's true in Elon's case. And Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, which to me it looks like a new Bill Gates top 10 scumbag in the making. But he had a very accurate depiction of Elon Musk. When this is probably the only thing I agree with Sam Altman on anything. He described Elon Musk as, he deeply cares about humanity and he wants to save it, but only if it's him the one saving. And I think that's true. Elon, he wants to be in control. He wants to be the one, his legacy is he's this techno genius that got people onto Mars and made the world a better place and saved them from the doom of AI and Skynet destroying the world and humanity. But I'll take that. So Elon's part of the club. He's an ultra wealthy scumbag in many aspects, but he's not 100% scumbag. He's doing some things to help further his own companies, which I don't care what anyone says. You can call Elon scumbag and he cheats on his wives and he's a dickhead father. That, whatever. But Tesla is good for humanity. Clean energy, clean vehicles. We can have so much abundance if Tesla's vision comes to fruition. SpaceX, it's amazing that you can take the best of humanity, the brightest people on the face of the earth, and they can make rockets land. I'm not sure about this whole Mars fantasy he has, but if anyone was to do it, it will be the team that he assembles, the technology that his company, SpaceX, will do. And that goes with anything. There's nothing but Neuralink giving people the ability to live a better life. There's also his company's Twitter. I think that's kind of just, in hindsight, this whole free speech thing. Yeah, it's a little less censored, but it's another narrative. I don't buy into that free speech thing. It's just another a different form of shadow banning and censoring to get people tricked into the not so obvious establishment. The not so obvious establishment is a term coined by some guy named Dr. Shiva, that it's the global elites getting ahead of what their next play is and placing people of influence in that. There's the establishment like the Bidens and the Obamas and the Clintons and Bill Gates and Gavin Newsom and AOC and Senator Warren and all these other retards basically trying to make us a socialist communist state. And then there's the not so obvious establishment, which is Trump and Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan and all these other weird podcasters that I've never heard of that are suddenly on the map. It's the global elites using their media power, their main tool for influencing and controlling people to think a certain way. And people in MAGA and other places, unfortunately, they think they're ahead of the curve, but they themselves are getting manipulated to think a certain way. It's not a coincidence that everyone's starting to talk about the Epstein files and everyone's saying Israel is controlling our government. They want people to start asking questions about Israel. They're getting ahead of it. For what reasons? Time will tell, but it is not because the truth is out there and Americans are free and we're all waking up. They're planting these psyop narrative propaganda things into our minds. Global elites are trying to deflect because they know some people are becoming privy to what's going on, so they're getting ahead of it, and then they're gonna move a bunch of pieces around to get people off their scent, the global elites that control everything. The reason I stay invested in Tesla has changed over the years, over time, and I'm rooting for a world where people can live in abundance. People don't have to fight tooth and nail for just some pitiful existence. The world has enough resources and energy and food to support a massive population, and that's another thing. Elon, he doesn't go with the popular ongoing agendas of the global elites and the WEF. They keep talking about a very popular one over the years has been population control. They've sterilized third world countries under the guise of being like the Red Cross or some humanitarian aid. And they sterilized men and women saying it's medicine and made them sterile so they couldn't have more kids. I know this because I looked into it. They did it to Korea, the Philippines, Vietnam, and a bunch of other countries and stuff. So anyone who says that's, malarkey, shut the fuck up. It's real. It's a thing. They think they're doing benefit. It's the greater good to genocide and kill people because we need to keep the population under control. It's a popular thing they like to do. But Elon, he goes against that narrative. He's saying people need to have kids. There's population collapse. Nothing more important than having kids. Just that alone makes me think he's not totally in line with all these other globalist elite scumbags. So summarize, to just go over it again. Yes, I was like you guys that I think Elon's companies are cool. I think he's this quirky techno guy, right? And I want to invest in his companies. I got burned and I tried to figure out why, and I realized being in Tesla stock, I see all the blatant media manipulation and lies about Elon and his companies. That's just pure FUD. That is not true. And it woke me up to realize, you know, if this is bullshit, what else is bullshit? And I won't go into too depth, but COVID, that was bullshit. You know, I realized things happening with some of my own family members and their health. That was bullshit from the ongoing CDC narrative, and Andrew Fauci is a top 10 scumbag that deserves to be in prison. But there's a lot of things. Remember when Elon Musk said prosecute Fauci? I even at the time cringed, and I'm like, oh God, that is really bad. He's going to get a lot of flack for that. The media is going to cut at him hard. Biden administration is going to cut him hard. And they did. But fast forward to today, we know that the vaccines were not safe and effective. We know they basically did shit. We know herd immunity was probably better. COVID was a big experiment for the global elites to see how far can we take it and control the people. And they were probably surprised at the results themselves. Like, oh shit, they actually fell for that? Wow, they went with this social distancing and this and that and all the freaking pouring disinfectant on your groceries and eating with a mask and a face diaper and all that other shit. If you weren't woken up from COVID, I don't know what it's going to take for you at this point, whoever has managed to listen this far. But so I will remain in Tesla stock. But the way I look at it as Tesla is, I've said in the past, if people listen to me instead of taking snippets, I did say several times in several videos, Elon knows a global recession is on the horizon. That's why he's been pivoting away from car sales. That's why he's all in AI. And Tesla, whether it was planned or not, the past few years, they've made all the right investments and moves in other sectors, in AI, in robotics, in energy, from opening up a lithium mine. And they just had a new milestone with Dojo 2, which has partnered with Taiwan Semiconductor. They're mass producing Dojo chip in December. Imagine the news and the stock pump if another company wants to use Dojo and Tesla just gets to license and sell that and get pure revenue, just like a Nvidia does. There's a lot of things that the market and market analysts are not taking into account, and rightfully so, because it does not bring in any revenue yet, but it's going to in the future. I think there's a possibility where Tesla is one of the most valuable companies in the world. But we got to get through this recession first. That's why I get frustrated, because Tesla stock, there's a limited time before that comes to fruition. And when the Fed and Jerome Powell and all these dickheads cause this boom bust cycle that they've been prepping for a while, they can only kick the can so much. I know a lot of people are probably losing me, but what I want to say to Tesla investors that are frustrated, as I was very frustrated because you're watching everyone else get rich, is Tesla is the only company providing real value to the world and humanity. And I see it every day because I drive a Model Y. And that is better. Whatever Tesla is creating is far more valuable than fucking Meta pumping out Instagram and having dick pill ads. And yes, they generate a lot of marketing and advertising revenue, but that is not good for humanity. What Tesla creates is good for humanity. That's why I'm a fan. I will always remain a fan of Tesla, and I will hopefully remain an investor in Tesla. It's just I don't want to be all in anymore because it's just too volatile. But Tesla has laid the foundation, the groundwork for all these other sectors. Even Jensen Huang from NVIDIA has praised Tesla for they're going to be a leader in robotics. And I was a skeptic of these things, but it's real. AI, as we know it, it's not a Skynet. It's real intelligent AI in its current form is hyper processed data that they compute and provide much more instantaneous, better results. It's like a Google search on steroids times 100, and that's what AI is. And not just a Google search, but data processing, video processing, making better computations and decisions. And that's all it comes down to. That's what FSD is. It's just taking terabytes on terabytes of video data and just making the computations for the car to make the best and emulate the best driving possible. And it only gets better and better as time goes on. They've cracked the code. That's why Elon's not sweating it. He knows they got this shit. My advice to people is just don't sell. You've waited this long. Just wait a little longer, because the stock will outperform, mark my words, in the next 6 to 12 months. And you can finally be vindicated, validated of your thesis like I will be. But it's weird. As soon as Tesla pumps like crazy, there's going to be a black swan event with the Fed using it as an excuse to just crush the market. So that's why I feel like our window is closing to be able to get some meaningful, life-changing money from a Tesla stock. That's why I got so frustrated with my previous video. But I'm repeating myself, but don't get me wrong. Tesla is a generational company, and if you can't stomach the stock movements and the volatile movements, I suggest just getting into the S&P, because Tesla's part of the S&P. You're invested in Tesla if you're in an index fund. But for me, I ain't fucking selling until I hit my numbers and what I believe to be. They shook everyone out at least 5 times in a short span in just recent memory. And no one is left unless you're the only people holding Tesla shares now are people that are super rich and they don't give a shit anyway. Vanguard and BlackRock and the institutions that are part of the club, the global elites, or just OG Tesla fans and fans of humanity. So if you're in one of those categories, we fit into the later category. Don't lose your faith in Tesla. Just hold that shit, because we can hope for a better future, not to sound cheesy in that. Because we're slowly transforming into a police state. That's why I made another thing about crypto and Chainlink. They want more control. And Elon is, again, begrudgingly going along with it. We're probably not going to be able to drive our own cars in the future. It's all going to be FSD in some form or another. The robots are going to take a lot of jobs away. But maybe they'll throw us a bone. They'll come out with universal basic income. They'll cut us some slack and let us live, let us prosper for a little while. They've done it in the past. They're not always shitting on us. 90% of the time they're shitting on us and making our lives shit, but every now and then they cut us some slack because they're working on something else. But I hope I got all my points across. Yeah. Listening to this, I'm probably going to be like, what the hell am I talking about? But for the few people who know, you know what I'm talking about. You've been unplugged from the matrix. You know they use Tesla stock as a liquidity tool to extract wealth. But fundamentals and PE ratios and all this other bullshit don't apply to Tesla right now. But one day, when it is the most valuable company in the world, they can't ignore it anymore, and then the stock price will reflect that. Guys, I'm gonna have to edit the shit out of this video. I hope I made some sort of sense to people, but in summary, one more time, Tesla has a lot going for it. You held this long, hold on a little longer, and you will be rewarded. To all the toxic bulls out there, shut the fuck up. To all the bears out there, kiss my ass too. And that's it. All right, take care, guys. Bye.